Welcome back. You're watching AFL.com.au, and as you've just seen, the 2014 AFL fixture has been revealed. So, in just a moment, as our special coverage continues, we're going to go club by club. AFL.com.au senior writer Ashley Brown is here with us to help us do that. Ash, before we get there, the key points from the announcements.
Well, Matty, all has been revealed. Round one over 2 weeks from the 14th of March. No MCG games in the first 2 weekends. Triple head on Anzac Day, more Thursday, more Sunday night matches, and a couple of the juicy matchups. Buddy v the Hawks in round 8 at ANZ Stadium in Sydney on a Friday night. Dale Thomas and Mick Malthouse v Collingwood, round 7 at the MCG. And Kurt Tipper goes back to Adelaide to play the Crows in round 3. The grand final rematch, round 3 at the MCG.
Buddy v the Hawks, bring it on. All right, Ash, let's go club by club. Alphabetical order is the way we're going. Means we're starting with the Adelaide Crows.
OK, with Adelaide, the key thing for them is they don't play into the top 4 teams twice, and they've got some nice prime-time home games against HAWTHORN, Collingwood and Richmond at their new home ground at Adelaide Oval. But a tough start, Geelong, Port and Sydney in their first 3 games. All
right, Ash, you're bringing out your inner school teacher. Give us a grade for the Crows.
I'll give them an A-, Matty, because it's pretty good. The commercial and the footy people will be happy with what they've got.
All right, now let's go to the Brisbane Lions.
Brisbane Lions, only 2 6-day breaks, and the early games of the Gabba against Geelong, Richmond and Essendon and Carlton. A 5-day break they've got to manage after round 4 because of Easter, and they've only got 3 primetime games for the year, and they've got a really tough start and tough finish.
Yeah, that 5-day break is pretty tough for the Lions, so your grade for them?
C-. I think it's a fairly brutal draw, all things considered, for the Lions.
All right, next up we're going to take a look at the Blues.
Lots of primetime football for Carlton this year. They're going to figure regularly on Thursday, Friday nights, and even 2 of the Sunday night games. They played Geelong as the only team from the top 4 twice. 8 6-day breaks, that's a downside. That's a big deal for the conditioning staff. They only get 8 MCG games. They wanted a whole lot more, and they've got a tough start and finish.
All right, they are indeed the primetime Blues. So your grade for them, Ash?
I've given them a solid C, Matty.
A C. Any reason for that?
Well, I just think it's there's good and bad points to it, so it battles out to a C.
All right, next up is Collingwood.
Collingwood, big primetime games as always for Collingwood. Adelaide on a Thursday night, Carlton on a Sunday night. Home team for Anzac Day. HAWTHORN, the only team from the top 4 they played twice. But they've got a tough start. Their first 7 opponents finished in the top 9 in 2013, and they travelled twice in the last 4 weeks. Also, interestingly for Collingwood, 5 games in a row on pay TV late in the season.
Yeah, Collingwood fans won't be happy about that, I don't reckon. A grade for the Pies?
I give them a B. Not as prominent as always this year, Collingwood.
All right, let's go to the next team, which is, of course, Essendon.
Only 5 6-day breaks for the Bombers. Sydney, the only top 4 team that plays twice, and they only play 1 game in each of WA and SA. But they've got a tough start with North, HAWTHORN, Carlton and Freo away.
All right, a grade for the Bombers.
Give them a B. They start fast, Essendon. If they start fast next year, they're going to be in for a really good season.
All right, next up, the Fremantle Dockers.
OK, Fremantle, only 1 clash with the flag fancy, being the Swans. Opening game of the season v Collingwood, 6 6-day breaks. The Conwell, the anyone, anytime, anywhere team, they have to go to Darwin this year. Only 2 games at the MCG and a long trip to Brisbane just 2 weeks before the finals, which will raise issues about player management once again. All
right, a lot of travelling for the Dockers. A grade for them?
I give them a B, but there's probably no team in the league less interested in its draw than Fremantle.
All right, let's talk about Geelong's draw then.
OK, Geelong, reasonable chance to start 5-2 with a good draw. A Thursday night and a Friday night home game at Simonds Stadium. 14 games on free-to-air TV. 8 6-day breaks will be a difficulty for them. And just 7 games at Simonds Stadium. They were hoping to get 8.
A grade for the Cats?
C. Only 7 games at Geelong could make a difference for them this year because they play so well down there.
All right, let's head to warmer climates and check out the Gold Coast Suns fixture. This is going to be a big year for the Suns.
They've got 3 winnable games in the first 6 against Brisbane, Melbourne and GWS. And Richmond, HAWTHORN, Collingwood and Geelong all visit Metricon, which mean big crowds.
All right, a grade for the Suns.
The Suns I've given B. They're getting bigger and closer to the big time.
All right, the other new franchise, Greater Western Sydney, the Giants. How are they looking?
OK, the Giants, blockbuster home game against the Swans in the first game, and that's the only team they played in the top 4 twice. And they've got 3 winnable games, St Kilda, Melbourne and the Western Bulldogs in the next 3. 2 trips to WA, no primetime games, and only 4 national free-to-air TV games for sponsorship, although they've just signed Virgin. Not the greatest thing.
Yeah, that does make it a little bit tough, but they have to kind of earn the respect of the competition. So a grade for them?
C+. I think they're getting there, but it's a bit of a slow crawl still for the Giants.
All right, let's turn our attention to the next team, which is, of course, HAWTHORN, the reigning premiers.
OK. Interesting for Hawthorn, they played Gold Coast in round 4. It's the second time in about 5 years they've played a game in Queensland. No home game at Etihad Stadium, which will delight their supporters because they really don't like playing games there. 9 6-day breaks is the big downer for the Hawks. It's going to be a very big exercise for their coaching staff.
All right, a grade for the Hawks?
That's a C- for the Hawks.
All right, now let's turn our attention to the next club, which is, of course, the Melbourne Demons. 3 winnable games to start for Melbourne, St Kilda, West Coast and GWS. So that a chance under Paul Roos to make a big impression at the start. 2 games in Northern Territory that they've asked for. Port Adelaide, the only top 16 they played twice. Only 12 MCG games. I like playing the MCG and they've only got 12. Yeah, the Demons fans won't be happy about that game at Etihad Stadium though. A grade for the Ds?
I've given them a C. The brand is still a bit battered and needs a bit of work.
North Melbourne is next up, Ash.
Well, they're the new love child of the AFL, North Melbourne. 5 Friday night games and 1 Sunday night game. The only top 14 they play twice is Geelong, and they've got 3 games opening at Etihad Stadium, so they can make a great start to the season. 8 6-day breaks will be an issue for them. Only 2 games at the MCG, and they've got 2 games in West Australia as well.
All right, and of course, North Melbourne will be very happy to be back on Friday night. A grade?
A-. It is a really good draw for North.
All right, Port Adelaide is next up for us, Ash. Let's take a look at the power.
Interesting with Port Adelaide because they made the big leap to make the finals this year, but they've only been rewarded with a couple of primetime games. They've got the showdown clash to open the Adelaide Oval. Geelong, Hawthorn, Essendon and Carlton will visit Adelaide Oval, which will be great for the gate. Last game away to Freo, so if they need to win to make the finals, they could face a bit of a battle.
All right, a grade for the power.
B-. A bit surprised they didn't get more primetime games.
All right, let's find out now how Richmond did, the pros and cons for the Tigers.
OK, the only top team they play twice is Sydney, which is great for their draw. 2 games against the bottom 6 teams, St Kilda and GWS. 12 MCG games is great. 6 games outside Victoria, including the Swans at ANZ Stadium to finish, will be a challenge for them. 2 games in Queensland in the opening 5 weeks, a conditioning challenge.
All right, a grade for Richmond.
I'll give them a B. They're a big club, getting bigger by the year.
All right, let's go to St Kilda now. How'd they go?
OK, the Beleaguered Saints. Melbourne and GWS to start, so they can get a 2-0 start if they're in form. A big Friday night home game against Collingwood to kick off the Indigenous round to honour Nicky Winmar, which will be fantastic at Etihad Stadium. They only played twice at the MCG, which will disappoint them. 7 games outside Victoria is a bit of a challenge for them as well.
A grade for the Saints?
Look, the C. They used to be big clubs in Kilda with the big games. Not so much now. It's a bit of a fall from grace.
All right, we've already alluded to it, but the Sydney Swans, there's obviously a lot of attention on their draw with Buddy Franklin joining the Swans.
It's a pretty good draw for the Swans. Hawthorn and Port, the only top teams from the top 6 they play twice. They get Freo and Geelong once, but both at the SCG, and they get some really big home games at the redeveloped SCG. Pies, Hawthorn, Essendon, Carlton, Geelong and Richmond. Only 5 games in Victoria, which will disappoint their old South Melbourne fan base, and they've got back-to-back travel, MCG in round 6 and the Gabba in round 7. 3 games at ANZ Stadium as well. They don't play that ground particularly brilliantly.
Yeah, 6 6-day breaks as well. A grade?
I've given them an A though, because it really is. If they had to write their draw, the Swans, this is what they've picked.
All right, we're going to the West Coast now, the West Coast Eagles.
Look, West Coast is the other team, I think. This weighted draw really helps them out. The only top 16 they play twice is their Fremantle, their fellow West Australian team. Good draw to start. They could start 3-0 very easily. And their return games against Gold Coast, St Kilda and Melbourne, you back them to win each of those. So a lot of wins there. 2 games in Queensland is always a big ask for a team for West Australia. Only 1 game on a Friday night. All
right, so that's the draw for the West Coast Eagles with new coach Adam Simpson. The grade for the Eagles?
I'll give them an A, Matty, because I really think they're well placed now to make a great impression next season. They can win a lot of games.
All right. We cannot forget about the Western Bulldogs last of all.
That's right. Good thing for the Western Bulldogs is they don't play any of the 2013 top 6 teams twice. They've got 10 games on free-to-air TV and 5 of the last 6 at Etihad, so at their home ground. So if they're in finals contention, they can make a run on a ground they like at the end of the year. They don't play Friday night footballs, and they've got a home game against Gold Coast, who play there regularly in Cairns.
All right. A grade for the Doggies?
Give them a B. The footy department will be really pleased with this draw.
All right, Ash, thank you very much. Much appreciated. Thanks for being with us.
Good to be here.
Ashley Brown, senior writer with AFL.com.au, giving us his analysis. Now, before we go, if you want the perfect footy holiday experience, which includes tickets to the game of your choice, airfares and accommodation to see your team play anywhere around the country, jump onto this website, anygameanywhere.com.au. If you go there right now, season 2014 is already on sale. Also, plenty ahead for you on AFL.com.au. We've got a live chat answering your fixture questions coming up later this afternoon. We've also got comprehensive analysis from our team of reporters, video on demand later today, and of course, most importantly, you can access the entire fixture right here online. Our next major event is the NAB AFL Draft, which is coming up on the Gold Coast next month. We're very much looking forward to that. For now, from the entire team here at AFL.com.au, I'm Matt Thompson. Thanks for watching.